everyone, and welcome to Eagle Break News, your on-campus guide to what's happening on campus, coming up and taking a look back at what happened. I'm your host, Zoe Moody.
And I'm Joshua Ridings.
This week on Thursday, we are very excited for Show Us Your Shorts happening on October 20th, and it's an unconventional event.
Unconventional definitely is the word for it. You're asked to bring a sleeping bag or a pillow, wear pajamas, and watch the short films of your peers, undoubtedly doing some ridiculous stuff.
Not only that, Josh, but there's movie trivia, prizes, a popcorn bar, drinks, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
That's right. Join us in the TV studio at 7:30 p.m. on Thursday, October 20th for this unconventional event. I'm really excited about this event, Zoe.
Me too. You know, Show Us Your Shorts has been a staple of Golden Eagle Productions for a long time, but this year we're taking it up a notch, so you are not going to want to miss it.
In other news, fall is officially upon us. To celebrate the season, SEA is hosting the annual Fall Festival on October 21st. Festivities include football, pumpkin painting, caramel apples, live music, and much more. Make sure you mark your calendars. You will not want to miss this event.
Hey, Josh, can I tell you a secret?
Of course, Zoe. You can tell me anything, especially when we're broadcasting it to the entire campus. What is it?
Secret church is happening.
What? That's your secret? Sorry to break it to you, but everyone knows that Secret Church is happening. It will be October 22nd at 4 p.m. at a missionary and residency house, 1613 West Alpine Street. The speaker is David Platt.
All right, so maybe it wasn't a secret, but if you didn't know, now you know. Speaking of which, Josh, did you know we have an amazing student newspaper here on campus?
We do? I haven't seen any newspapers lying around campus.
Well, that's because it's a digital newspaper. It's called The Threefold Advocate, and it's been around for almost as long as the university itself. I had the chance to talk with Gabriela Arozmena about her role as the executive editor and more about The Threefold. Check it out.
Hi, I'm Gabriela Arozmena. I'm the executive editor here at The Threefold Advocate, and I'm a junior integrated marketing communications major from Panama. The Threefold Advocate is a student-led newspaper based in John Brown University, Silent Springs, Arkansas, and it has been running since 1937. JVU was actually funded by someone, by a broadcasting person, John Brown the first, I don't know, John Brown, one of the founders. Yeah, he was a broadcasting professor, and for a while JVU was known as one of the big schools for broadcasting. I think a student newspaper is really important because it allows students to develop one, professional skills that they're always gonna use once they start off their professional careers, but also it's a good platform for all students, not only the ones involved in the newspaper, but all students to have a place where they can voice out their opinions and their thoughts and get informed and just use that. And I think that's always gonna be good for someone in their life, and starting that off when they're a student here at college and realizing why it's that important, because they're the future people that is gonna run countries, and basically they're gonna help with everything that is going on in our world. So yeah, so that's what I think is important. It's a digital newspaper, and we have our website, advocate.jvu.edu, where we have our bi-weekly issues. So these are issues that come out every 2 weeks, and in between weeks we may have one or two additional articles coming out just to highlight some stories that we have. If you're really interested in it, you can come in and we're gonna help you go through all the steps and all the learning that we have. We also have classes here at JVU of news writing, but you don't have to be in those classes to come into the Threefold. We're gonna help you we're gonna train you to become a better journalist. And actually a lot of our writers now are all pretty new, so that's how we've been doing, and we've been getting out great issues so far. Again, yeah, I'm not planning on being a journalist. I didn't even came as a JVU for journalism. I came as a PR major, but it's just such a great experience. You get to help complete a story of someone, and kind of refine it so that it makes sense into a journalism, and it's like kind of helping students or like the writers realize that like you may know a lot of other subject, but you have to make it as like general knowledge as possible, and like that like the person with the least knowledge of what that topic can read it. So yeah, so it's a lot of like just making sure that everything is like AP style format, and making sure that the stories make sense and that there are newsworthy. But once that you have an issue out, it's just a really rewarding thing to have and see that all those like 12 to 15 stories are out.
Wow, I'm going to have to check it out. It's at advocate.jbu.edu, right?
Yes, that's correct. Advocate.jbu.edu. And it's great because then you find out about what's happening on campus, but they also talk about things happening off campus, you know, like the Ukrainian war and the hurricane in Florida.
That's great. I'll have to check them out. And if you would like us to spotlight your club, be sure to email us at jbueaglebreak@gmail.com. Now let's look at what's coming up. SEA is hosting a drive-in movie night. Wait, that's...
Yeah, you're right, they are. They are hosting a drive-in movie night. And you want to know what they're showing? They're showing Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone on an outdoor screen in the freshmen's parking lot.
You won't need magic to watch this movie. All you need is a car or friends who have a car. But if you have no access to cars, don't be dismayed. You can park your car and listen to the movie through your radio, or bring a blanket and use a radio app to hear the movie.
Don't worry, there will be instructions before the movie starts. Also, it's free, open to all JBU students. Snacks and drinks are provided, and that's October 29th.
Sounds like a great time. There are so many opportunities to have fun with your friends around JBU as we celebrate so many fun events. But do we ever celebrate this school?
Oh yeah, we do. Spirit Day is coming up.
What's that?
Well, Spirit Day is hosted by SEA and the athletics department as their way of getting ready for the epic TP game. The best part? It includes food. They're providing lunch with games and music and opportunities to win JBU merch. You gotta represent.
Isn't that an annual event?
Yes, it is, and JBU is actually famous for the TP game. It's an incredible sight to see all the TP everywhere. It's crazy. So if you want to show your team spirit and eat some lunch, join us on October 28th from 11 to 1 p.m. outside the cafeteria. Also, show up for the TP game in the evening, throw some toilet paper on the court. You know, it's a win-win, even if we lose. So yeah, that's happening on October 28th. The game is at 5:30 in the Bill George Arena.
Nice. Now let's take a look back. Zoe, did you know that about 1/3 of JBU students are commuters?
Actually, I did know that because I'm a commuter myself, which is why I'm so glad I had the opportunity to talk with Rob Rostoni about the brand new commuter lounge. Let's take a look. Zoe Moody here, standing outside of the brand new commuter lounge at JBU, and I had the opportunity to talk to Rob Rostoni. So we are sitting in the new commuter lounge. So how'd this happen?
You know, it's been a great project, and I've been at JBU now for 3 years, and the commuter lounge used to be the landing outside of Walker. And so we saw a need for a bigger space, and JBU supported that endeavor, and so we commandeered a classroom upstairs in Walker Student Center and set up kind of a temporary lounge, and that proved really useful. And then we had the opportunity, with the blessing of a donor, to expand this space and make it more permanent, and that's how we ended up on the ground floor level of Walker, and it's been really good.
Yeah, if you don't mind me asking, we'll just keep trading this back and forth. But do you know like how many students are using the space, or not quite yet because it's so new?
Yeah, so last year we were averaging 45 entries a day, and I was blown away by that. I thought that was really wonderful. So this year, you know, we opened the first week of school, so take the first week of school until the last week of September. That was 6 weeks. We had 3,700 entries, so we're averaging 88 students a day in here. Wow. So we've doubled our usage and capacity, so it's been great.
Wow, that's
That's awesome. So clearly you saw a need for commuter students. Do you feel like, have you heard kind of any responses from commuter students? Like, obviously if there's 88 entries per day, that kind of speaks for itself, but have you heard any feedback on like how people are using this space, if this has been like really good for them?
Yeah, sure. So our commuter population has grown this year. So we have the equivalent of 2 residence halls full of commuters at JBU, which is great. And so, so the space, as I said, is pretty well utilized, but I think it's also the amenities that are helpful. So students can use the lockers and have a place to kind of hang out in between classes. And we were able to get a sink and a whole kitchenette area. So that really helps in their need for food and food prep and lunch and that sort of thing. And we have an internal study room, and I've heard really good feedback about that. I love walking in and seeing on the dry erase board content from classes. And so it's been just a great place for students to rest and hang out, have a home away from home, have some of the amenities that they need. Even if they forget their charging device for any of their devices, we have that covered here. So students have really appreciated it, and the lounge has really fit well into the overall commuter life initiatives that we've set up. Hall away from home, where we're connecting commuters with residence halls. We do emergency gas card program. We do a food bank, which has been really great, and then we do monthly commuter programming, but also incentivizing our commuters to participate in campus-wide activities and just really trying to meet their needs as commuters.
Yeah, I think that's really awesome that you guys have all those resources. I, as a commuter, use some of those resources, so it's really helpful. And like you said, the commuter population continues to grow. Kind of a question for the future. Do you see the commuter populations like just going to continue to grow, and how is JBU going to kind of like respond to that?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So JBU really is a residential campus, and we do believe the residential experience is important and is a vital part of our community. But at the same time, I do think that our commuters, they commute because it's their sustainable way to be here. And so we want to grow in our support of helping those students if that's their sustainable way to be here. So, yeah.
Awesome. And then my last question for you, what would be some advice to a commuter who might be watching this right now and maybe they're feeling a bit of the weight of being a commuter and the struggle that kind of comes with that? Do you have any advice for one of those students?
Yeah, sure. So I think there's a lot of places and spaces on campus for you to thrive and be here and to get involved. But we're also mindful that commuters have a life outside of JBU, and so you get out of it what you put into it. So we really do want to support our students to thrive as much as they can, get involved, and to do as much of their work here as they can. So when they go home, that's home, and that's their time to be there. So anything we can do to support that, that's our aim.
I completely agree with that piece of advice. That is a really good one, doing school at school and then home at home. Give us a little tour.
All right. Hey, welcome home, commuters. So this is just a wonderful place for you to relax and to have fellowship and to rest. One of the favorite chairs is this one. It's fully electric in any way you need it, so you could really recline and relax. And there's a beautiful sitting area here. And this room here is just a great place to have study groups or to even have individual study time. I call it the collaborative learning room. I see it used often, so it's a great space to hang out. And then we have our kitchen area, which I'm so excited that we have a sink and some of the amenities that our commuters really enjoy, so that they can have their meals here. And then we have a charging station over here. So if you forget any of your chargers for any of your devices, we've got these lockers that are day use lockers, or you could claim it for the whole semester. So it's a great way to not, schlep all your stuff around campus. And then we've just got various different types of seating. Oftentimes these individual study carrels are used for when people really want to focus. And then we've got some lounge type area here, so you could see we have like a little hangout area over there, and we've got kind of a couch area here, and we've got some games here, so we want to try and have students be able to relax and play games and fellowship, and so we're just really excited for this space for you.
Awesome. Thank you again so much for the tour. And if you're a commuter, I really recommend this space. It's here for you.
Thanks for sharing that, Zoe. It is exciting and good to know there's a place for our commuters on campus.
Yeah, it really does help, knowing there's support for us on campus, and it can help you feel more like you're a part of the campus by attending events.
You're right. One of these events was this year's play, Murder on the Orient Express. I got the opportunity to sit down with this year's lead in Murder on the Orient Express. Hello, everyone. I am here with Nick Loper, who is the lead in this year's play, Murder on the Orient Express. We're just here talking about a little bit of that experience and a little bit of just his journey to get here. So I guess the first thing is, how was this year's production in your opinion?
In my opinion, this was definitely the best production I've ever done. That beats everything I did in high school and everything I've done in the past, just because it's a story that I knew. It was a story that I was actually kind of passionate about. And yeah, it was just a whole lot of fun, and it was just an honor to play such an iconic character who's been portrayed by so many actors in the past.
So how many other productions before this have you done here at JBU or just in general?
Here at JBU, I've done 2 others. I've helped on set design for 2 others, not the same ones though. The first one was Tartuffe, which was also directed by Josiah Wallace, and he also directed Babette's Feast, which was the next one, and then he was the director on Murder on the Orient Express. And yeah, so far that's all I've done during my college days, and I think I'm about to take a break from that until there's something that I really, really want to do.
It's fair enough,
yeah.
fair enough. Well, speaking of, so you were talking about you've done a couple of these productions before, and you were saying that Josiah Wallace, the director of this one, has done the last couple as well. How has that relationship between you and him grown over the course of these last couple of productions going into this one as well? I'm assuming this one was a little bit tighter between you and him just because you were the lead role compared to some of your previous ones, but could you just expound on really where that was, being the lead role and him being the director?
Well, Josiah being the director that he is, it's very obvious he has a vision. It's very obvious there's a way he wants it, but he's also very hands-off. He gives everybody freedom to practice their craft, not just the actors, but also just people behind the scenes. He allows for freedom because he knows where his job ends, and that's why we really, really appreciate him. And in fact, sometimes it's almost like, Josiah, where are you? Because the way he blocks the scene is he doesn't start out with, this is how I want you to do it. He asks you to feel it out. And that allows people to just follow their instincts, which is a big part of acting, especially on stages, following your instincts, following your impulses, seeing what happens just naturally. Because there's a lot of stuff that happens from your impulses that you cannot simply just direct. But you can shape it. And that is what Josiah does. And I think that's what makes him a great director.
It's awesome. It's really cool. So what would you say, wrapping up here, out of this year's production, what was your favorite part of this production, besides obviously being the lead in that? Was there any specific memory of this year's production that you're just like, oh man, that was so much fun to be a part of, or just to even be near and witness?
The cast. I have a set belief that really the show is made up of the cast, not just the characters that they play, how they play them, but the cast dynamic. And this was a very tight dynamic. We grew a lot together as a cast. We grew a lot as characters. And there was not a dull moment on set, like ever. And I really got a chance to get to know these people. And a lot of them were freshmen, so I had really only worked with one other actor in the past, and that was Nathan Hahn. He played Colonel Arbuthnot, the Scotsman. as for everybody else, this was my first time acting with them on that stage, and it was just a pleasure in front of an audience and behind the curtain. And we also played a lot of theater games. But we had a lot of theater games that we would play right before a rehearsal or right before performances. That was like essential. We would do vocal warm-ups together, and it just got to be really a second nature thing, because they're really hard to get into at first, because it's all about not just coordination, but also reading your fellow actors. And that helped us all, for sure. And we were also playing music in the dressing room.
So it's probably really nice getting to see all those freshmen, knowing that, hey, we've got good people coming in, growing, being able to know that, you know, a couple years from now, even when you're not here, like we got good people for the next productions kind of a thing. That was probably very good to kind of like experience.
We have a lot of great talent for the next 4 years of productions. That is a sure thing. And every year there's going to be more and more freshmen and more talented people. But it was really, really encouraging to see so many this production. And frankly, it was quite impressive.
Thank you, Nick, for coming in and explaining to us your experience with Murder on the Orient Express. Now we're going to go over to the sports desk with Caleb Takenaka.
Thanks, Zoe and Josh. There's a lot to get to as the volleyball team will be in action again this week in Silent Springs, while the cross-country and soccer teams have some big matchups coming on the road. Let's get right down to it. After playing their last two in Alumni Field, the soccer team will head back on the road this week. They'll first head to the Sooner State to take on Mid-America Christian in Oklahoma City on Tuesday, October 18th. On the women's side, the Golden Eagles face a MACU team that they've been nothing short of dominant against in the past. They've won 15 against their 16 contests against MACU all time, and they've held the Evangels scoreless in the last 3. The Evangels have been very competitive in conference play this season, though, and they'll look to score the first victory of the Golden Eagles since 2011. This one will kick off at 5 p.m. After that, the men take the field. MACU has been nearly unstoppable on the men's side all season. As of now, the MACU men are a perfect 6-0 at home. This is a team that has consistently gotten the better of the JBU men in recent history, as the Golden Eagles will head to Oklahoma City looking for their first win against Mid-America Christian since 2017. Expect an exciting battle between two of the best the Sooner Athletic Conference has to offer once it kicks off at 7:30. Next, the soccer teams will travel to McPherson, Kansas to face Central Christian on Saturday, October 22nd. On the women's side, it hasn't been exactly smooth sailing for Central Christian in conference play this season, but they'll look to utilize some home field advantage against the JV women to possibly steer themselves into the win column against the Golden Eagles for the first time in program history. They're set to do battle at 3 p.m. On the men's side, the Golden Eagles will face a Central Christian team that has also faced some struggles in conference play this season. Don't sleep on the Central Christian men, though, as they defeated the Golden Eagles in the SEC tournament back in April 2021. And in their match last season, while it was a winning effort for JBU, it was only decided by 1 point. The next chapter of this series will kick off at 1 p.m. Volleyball is back on the menu at Salem Springs this week as the Golden Eagles will take the court within the comfortable confines of Bill George Arena on 3 different occasions this week. It will start with a non-conference test against the College of the Ozarks on Wednesday, October 19th. It'll be the first time the two teams have faced off since 2017. While C of O holds the all-time series lead with 27 wins to JBU's 21, the Golden Eagles have shown historically that they can defend their house against the Bobcats, holding a 13-6 home record against them as a program. JBU will look to score yet another home win this time around, and that will start at 7 p.m. The volleyball team will then go back into conference play when they face Wayland Baptist on Friday, October 21st. The Golden Eagles have been the better team more often than not against Wayland in recent history, as JBU has won 10 out of their last 11 matches against them, most recently knocking off the Pioneers on September 17th in Plainsview, Texas, when John Brown swept them. The Golden Eagles have also been good at defending Bill George Arena against Wayland for a long time, as they have not lost to the Pioneers in Salem Springs since 2016. JBU will look to keep this going with a matchup set to start at 7 p.m. The following afternoon, JBU will take on Oklahoma Panhandle State. Panhandle State has been one of the conference's more competitive teams this season, and they took JBU right down to the wire when they first met in Goodwill, Oklahoma on September 16th. It took 5 sets to decide that one. While the Golden Eagles emerged victorious, expect the Aggies to come into Bill George Arena on Saturday afternoon, aiming to put it all on the line to even the season series between the teams. That one's scheduled to get underway at 1 p.m. All volleyball matches can be streamed on the SAC Sports Network, the broadcasting home of JBU Athletics. The cross-country teams have one more meet left before the conference championships in November, with the Golden Eagles traveling to Winfield, Kansas to participate in the NAIA Mid-States Classic on Saturday, October 22nd. They'll look to stay strong and keep the momentum going after a strong showing earlier this month at the Ozarks Invitational, where the men placed first out of 8 teams and the women placed second out of 7. Now we'll wrap up by once again highlighting the successes of a couple of JBU student athletes this week. On Monday, October 10th, 2 Golden Eagles were awarded accolades from the Sooner Athletic Conference. Savannah Riney from the volleyball team was named the SAC Offensive Player of the Week for the second time this season after she smacked a career-high 24 kills on October 5th against Southwestern Christian and landed 11 more 2 nights after on October 7th to help the Golden Eagles sweep Oklahoma City for the first time since 2008. Riney also added 31 digs across the 2 matches. Also, honor was Hope Onfelt from the cross-country team, as Onfelt was named SAC's Runner of the Week for the 2nd consecutive time. She posted JBU's top individual time so far this season on October 8th when she won the 5,000-meter race in the Ozarks Invitational with a time of 18:53. It was the top time in a field of 72 finishers. Congratulations to both Savannah Riney and Hope Onfelt for the recent achievements, and best of luck to all our teams and student athletes in action this week. It should be a fun week. And, by the way, for those counting down, once we get to this Friday, it will mean we're just 1 week away from the start of the basketball season and the 2022 world-famous toilet paper game. There will be a lot more on that when Ori gets back next week. That will do it for sports. Let's take it back to the news desk.
That's all for this week. I'm Zoe Moody.
And I'm Joshua Writings. Stay golden, Eagles.
Nap time's over, let's get to work.
Hunting turkey. The turkeys will hear you.
I found this in your locker. Up, down, up. You're getting there.